excited for another episode of Leadership Bits and Bytes. It is great every month to come back with a fresh story of great things that are happening right here in Grand Rapids and West Michigan. We are excited when we can talk about leadership and the things that are making a difference within organizations as well as our community. And so today we're really excited to have Elena Elliott with us. She's been an attorney for over 32 years, doesn't seem possible, and she focuses on family law. And so today we're really excited that you're here with us.
Thank you for having me, my pleasure.
Well, tell us a little bit more when you talk about family law. That is an interesting description, I think. What's involved in family law, and maybe even share, if you would, like, what drew you to that? Like, well, how did you get interested in family law?
Yeah, so I do specialize in family law. I consider it to be an honor to help people during some of the most tumultuous and intimate things going on in their lives. I try to focus on doing what's called collaborative law.
Okay.
It's an area of law that's been around for quite a while, but a lot of people have never heard of it. So my goal is to educate people on how they can move through the family law process without having to go to court. Family law also covers things like trusts and estates, probate, guardianships, name changes. So I also do a lot of that because it's all about planning for your family.
Yeah.
I've also in the past practiced in areas of property law, of riparian rights, which has to do with waterways and living on property with lakes. So I always encourage people to contact me because I've had a lot of different experiences over my 32 years of practice. And if I'm not able to help them, I can always find someone that is.
That's amazing. That's a lot of different things that you provide information, guidance on. And I'm sure that has to be such a tremendous asset because, you know, the law for all the years that we've been developing our legal system, it's hard to know what the law is, how it works, what to do, what not to do. So I'm sure you get a lot of questions that get asked.
I do, and every situation is unique. Every single one is unique, and so I try to focus my practice on specializing in resolution solutions that are geared specifically towards those families.
Wow. So what are some specific examples perhaps where situations would where you would say, yes, you should be contacting myself or an attorney like you to help guide them through that? Because I think for many of us, we might tend to think, oh, it's not that bad, I should just figure this out on my own.
Well, there are avenues to go down. For example, many of the courts have what's called a legal assistance center, but that's mostly assistance with filling out forms, not necessarily giving people legal advice. So definitely when somebody is going through a divorce or a custody matter, I think it's very important to at least have a consultation with an attorney. I belong to what's called the Collaborative Divorce Professionals of West Michigan, and we specialize in collaborative divorce. Again, a lot of people don't know about it, but it's a way to come up with a solution that is specific to your family. You're not having a third party like a judge or referee make decisions. So I think it's really important to have a consult to know your options. And I go through traditional litigation, I go through collaborative, and I also go through what's called the joint petition, which is a newer thing. Even a lot of family law attorneys aren't aware of it yet. It's a newer way to get a divorce where you both agree, you sign a judgment of divorce, and then you file a joint petition. So many times, if you don't want to do the entire collaborative process, which involves two collaboratively trained attorneys, we do a joint petition. So again, I think it's important just to get information. It's hard to make decisions if you don't have all the options and information available.
That makes perfect sense. I know for myself, there are so many situations where you're thinking, okay, is this the best way? You hear different things sometimes from friends, maybe from relatives, or from others in the business community even, and it's hard to make sense. Is that the way I should go then too? Because you don't know that there's all these options out there.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what would be maybe a couple of tips that you might give to people if they're maybe reaching one of those transition points where they need to start thinking about their estate or about divorce or about some other transition that they're going through? Are there some things that they should think about asking when they come in to meet with an attorney, or some things they should be prepared to share, or that type of thing?
In both a divorce case or a trust and estate case, we always want to know what the assets are of the parties. Typically, I will do a marital balance sheet to let them know not just what the assets are going to be, but also what the cash flow is going to look like. Because that's very important. Besides custody, I think most people are very concerned about how they're going to have two separate households, how they're going to support themselves. So I would say gathering information about finances, about budgets, and then with estate planning too, understanding how those assets are going to pass. So whether they have beneficiary designations, whether there's something we want to put in a trust or a will to actually make sure they get distributed properly.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So you have your own firm.
Yes.
That you started a number of years ago. I'm curious, what caused you to go out on your own? What got you excited about doing this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I first ended up in Grand Rapids because I was recruited by a law firm, so I had that experience. After that, I was with the UAW, the United Auto Workers, for about 15 years. And then I decided to go out on my own. I was prompted to do it by a friend and colleague, and that experience really encouraged me and supported that I like to be able to make my own decisions, my own schedule. I think with the way technology is today, it makes it very easy for people to have their own practice.
Sure, that is great. What are some of the things, if there's someone else out there maybe who is thinking about starting their own business, what are maybe one or two things that you've learned along the way that you're like, oh, I wish I had known that when I started?
Well, I think it's important to consult with a tax preparer. I think it's important to consult with an attorney. I think relying on technology, like I said earlier, is great. However, we all know what happens when it fails. So having some backup, it's okay to go back to the pen and paper if you need to when you're meeting with people. I think utilization of Zoom is excellent, but sometimes too it can be a hindrance. So I encourage people to come into the office.
I agree. It's easy and convenient to use virtual technology, and thank goodness through COVID we had that technology that we could use. But there's something that is just much greater and much more productive when you're in person and you can sit across the table like this and have that conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I'm curious too, are there a couple of things that, as if people are in one of those situations and they need to select an attorney, might they want to ask an attorney before they make that choice? What would help inform that decision for them?
So there are a lot of attorneys, and there are a lot of attorneys that practice differently from each other. In family law, I think sometimes people get caught up in the litigation part of it, again, not realizing there's a better way to do it. Part of, again, my collaborative practice is belonging to this group in West Michigan. There's a website, it's called gentledivorce.com, and we know all the attorneys on there practice collaboratively. So it's okay to interview different attorneys. I think that it's important to ask questions, but also, sometimes it's just a matter of chemistry. Is that attorney listening to your needs, or are they prompting you to not reach the fastest solution or the best resolution for your family?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is important, and I hear you putting a real emphasis on customizing things and really seeking to help care for the people that you're working for, which is so important for the well-being of how things go for everyone at however things unfold in the future.
Right, yeah, for sure. And you asked earlier about what advice I would give a new business owner, and there is the practical part of it for sure. But also, if you love what you're doing, the money will come, the success will come. Every day I come in and I think, what am I going to do today? Who am I going to hopefully help? What am I going to resolve? And then the rest comes naturally. It really does.
Yeah. Good advice.
Mm-hmm.
Good advice. So if someone wanted to get in touch with you, how could they find out more about Elliott Law and the work that you're doing?
Yeah, so my phone number is 616-840-6143. I am also on the Gentler Divorce website, and I also have a website, Elena Elliott Law. I can be emailed at elena@elenaelliottlaw.com. And again, I would be open to and encourage people to call me. If it's not something I specialize in, I can get them to the right person.
That is a great resource. Thank you for offering that, because so often it is hard to know who to contact and who has the kind of expertise that you need. And so to have someone such as yourself who can provide that is wonderful. Well, thank you again for being our guest, for really helping us understand more about the important work that you're doing and how you're contributing to families and the community at large. We are looking forward to just hearing more and keeping in touch with what's happening for you. So thank you, and we wish all of our leaders out there a great day.
Thank you so much.